Hey there guys, this is Justin here with the WinBarClub, and I'm back again to keep showing some of the awesome stuff in the Seven Kingdoms Total War mod. Today we're going to actually be looking at the units for two factions, because each of these factions only has one house available to them. So we're going to be looking at the Westerlands, and they have the Lannister bannermen, as you guys can see, and that's it. And then we're also going to take a look at Dorne, which only has the Martells available to them. So let's go ahead and get right to it. So first off, we're going to take a look at the Lannisters, which is the Westerlands faction. And they have 3 characters available to them with their bodyguards, which you can bring as a general or a unit if you do not bring it as the general. All of these characters cost 2,500 to bring, and one thing I am going to make note of right now, any numbers I am saying for unit cost is at the update of Beyond the Wall for this mod, so these things could change as they keep developing the mod. But anyways, let's take a look at these characters. First off, we're going to take a look at Tywin Lannister and look at the absolutely amazing work that they've done on his face. And I've got to say, I think you guys are going to love these models for the Lannisters. I mean, these are some of the best character models I have seen. Take a look at the armor on these guys. So his bodyguard here, you can see them. They've got these awesome helmets, and let's find one of them that has what I'm looking for. Some of these guys, I guess it's actually not on them, but if you look at like Tywin himself, you can see they've got the lion on his shoulder guard, these awesome, inscriptions on his breastplate. So these guys look stellar. And then on the back, of course, they've got the red lion shield. Of course, the Lannisters are also going to have Jaime Lannister available to him. Again, you can see, well, his horse trying to make a cameo there, waving his head, saying hey, but amazing work on his face as well. Same deal with the armor, and these generals' bodyguards are going to look pretty much the exact same, and shields on the back. And then the third and final character available for the Lannisters is Kevan Lannister. You can see, once again, same as the rest of the bodyguards, so we're basically just going to take a look at his awesome face there. You beautiful character model. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start taking a look at the levy variant of infantry. There's several, or the levy class, there's several different variants. We're going to do it by increased cost. So first up are these bow levies, costing 200. And you guys can see they're wearing like this leather type armor, similar to a lot of the levies for the different factions. It's got a red tinge to it, and the captains here, of course, wearing that awesome armor. Now that these guys are standing, you can see the full thing with those lions on the shoulder guards and everything. But this is your low tier archer unit. Next up, we've got the spear variant of the levies. A lot of these guys wearing helmets. You can see the variants in character models here. These guys cost 300 to bring, and these are obviously less armored. They don't have shields, so these guys are your lower tier spear units. At the same price is the melee variant of the levies. And these guys, the only difference is that they have swords, so you can see them there. Again, the low tier infantry. Next up, we have the javelins, and these guys are different from the other levies in that they do have a shield, but you can see overall their character models are the same, other than that big round lion shield there. And of course, they wield their javelins, which they can throw at your enemies. And then finally, for the levies, coming in at 500 gold to bring, are the crossbows. These guys, once again, looking the same as the rest of the levies, the difference being that they have the crossbows, which do some good armor-piercing damage. So moving up to the middle tier infantry available to the Lannisters. This is the men-at-arms unit, and this is the melee variant. These guys are a little bit more heavily armored. They cost 625 to bring, and you can see they've got shields, so that's the big advantage with these guys. They do have shields, and they have better morale and everything else than the levies. But again, amazing character model work on them. For the same price, you can bring the spear variant of the men-at-arms. And same character models here, difference just being the weapon they wield. So you can see these guys right there. We've also got the pike variant. Now these guys look different than the rest of the men-at-arms. You can see they have more visible armor on them. They do not have a shield though. So these are your pikemen. These guys cost a lot. They cost 1,100 to bring. But they do have armor. They are susceptible to missile fire without the shields though. And then here, costing 600, we have the men-at-arms longbow variant. And these are the top tier of archers that you can bring. Obviously, the crossbows are going to do more armor-piercing damage, but these guys are the longest ranged unit you can bring for the Lannisters. And now we are moving on to the top tier of infantry available to the Lannisters. These guys, coming in at 825 gold, are the dismounted knights. And you can see, I mean, these guys look exactly like they are seen in the TV show for Game of Thrones. You've got that awesome armor on them, the round shields. They essentially are the bodyguard unit we saw for the characters, just without their steeds. So this is the spear variant here, and you can see these guys have got some unique spearheads on them. But that there is the spear variant at 825 gold to bring. And of course there is a melee variant as well. And these guys, the only difference being that they have swords, but same armor, same character models, and just overall epic unit right here. These character models for the Lannisters are some of my favorites in this mod. The Lannisters also have 2 cavalry units available to them, just like most of the other factions. These are your outriders. You can see the shields on some of these guys are different than what we saw with the men on the ground. They've got this different lion design upon them, but these are your mobile javelin cavalry, and they cost 1,000 to bring. And then of course we've got the heavy shock cav unit, the knights here, and these guys cost 1,500 to bring. You can see them, similar armor to obviously the dismounted knights. These guys just have their giant lances and the shields on their backs. So that concludes the Lannister faction, which, well, I guess the Lannister house, which is part of the Westerlands faction. Now we are going to be taking a look at the Dorne faction, which only has the Martells available to them, and this is one of the smaller factions in the game, but in terms of the character models, to me they're some of the coolest ones in this mod. And they only have one character available to them, which can be your general. This is Oberyn Martell. You can see him right there looking like he does in the TV show. And Dorne has this very bright color scheme going on, so you can see his guard here with all the yellow leather armor and reflective bits on them and their swords. So that is his unit. That's the only character available for Dorne, but Dorne definitely makes up in color for what they lack in number of units. So now we're going to take a look at the levy units, and this is the bow variant, which currently costs 225 gold to bring, and these guys, to me, definitely have to win the award for best looking levies. check these guys out with their bows here. They've got the recurve bows. They definitely went with a very Eastern theme, just like in the TV show for the Dornish units. They've got the bright yellow shoulder guards, and you can see a little bit of reflections coming off these metal studs right there in the shoulders. So that is the bow unit. Here we have the spear variant of the Sunspear levies, and again you can see similar character model. These guys, it's just the models of those bows. Those bows I think are the coolest looking levy unit. But these guys here, you know, with their spears, and these guys have very uniform spears. This is actually basically the spear that Oberyn used in the TV show when he fought the Mountain. Then, of course, we have the melee variant at the same price of 300. And these guys, of course, just have the sword. These levies, as always, do not have shields. So low armor, low cost units right here. Then we have the javelin levy unit, and these guys look amazing, showing off these bright bronzish shields here. And these levies, of course, as always, are the only ones with shields. But this is the javelin unit. These guys cost 400 to bring in your army. And then, at a cost of 500, we have the crossbows, which these guys, of course, have that crossbow which can do some good armor-piercing damage, looking just like the rest of the levies. But the one thing I did want to note out, let's see if I can find one of them. Yeah, check these guys out. They've got this little... It looks bluish from some angles. Yeah, over here it looks blue. Like a blue steel diamond type thing in their head. That's probably just some steel armor for decoration or decorative purposes, but yeah, cool character models on these guys. I absolutely love the look of the Dornish units. Now we're moving on to the high tier infantry for Dorne. Like I said, they're very small factions, so they go straight from levies to these guardsmen here. This is the bow variant. So these guys have the model looks the same for the bows, but these guys are a better bow unit than those levy bows, and they cost 625 to bring. Next up we have the spear variant of the guardsmen. These guys cost 575, and you can see they've got the same spears as the levies, but they do have more armor. They have these shields, and Dorne overall is very lightly armored, but these guys do have shields which will help them in engagements, especially when they're being shot at by ranged units from the front. And here is the melee variant, only difference being that they have the swords, but same character models here with those epic bronzish shields. These guys also cost 575. And then there are only 2 variants of cavalry available to Dorne, just like the other factions. The key difference here, these outriders, just like for the Lannisters and other factions, count or cost 1,000, but where it's normally a javelin unit, these guys actually have bows. And you can see that there, they've got the recurve bows. So these guys are a little bit different from the outriders of the other factions. You can see they've got that very mobile, light look to them. And then here are the Lancers for Dorne at a cost of 1250. And you can see they've got those same shining shields. I just love, you know, this game engine with the reflections, but the reflective surface they've given these shields just makes Dorne really look epic. But that concludes it for Dorne and for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to be looking at the few remaining factions soon, and yeah, stay tuned for that. And if there's anything you guys would like to see else in this mod, let me know. I've just been showing off all the character models. I'm trying to get you guys some battles, so if any of you would like to download the mod and play the battles with me, go ahead and leave a comment on the video. I was about to say in the description. The link to the mod is going to be in the description of the video. So go show the guys making 7 Kingdoms Total War mod your support for Total War Attila. They're doing some awesome stuff here. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time with more.